Hi, I'm Emma Kaptein. I graduated Montclair State in 2013 with a broadcasting major, and I'm currently the manager of social media at the New York Giants.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So do you have a favorite memory from your time here at Montclair?
Yeah, so I have a bunch of memories. It's hard to pick just one. I would say probably the one that sticks out the most is when we traveled to Sicily to study abroad, and it was a group of broadcasting students. And we went out there for a month in Taormina, which back then no one really knew what Taormina was, and it's a beautiful city in Sicily. And we went as a broadcasting group, and we had a project of filming different segments about the culture there. And we had a great time there. Really got to learn a lot about the food, the culture, the way the people. We took classes at an Italian school there, learned how to speak Italian, which I never spoke. I'm Swedish. So that was really interesting, but it was a really awesome experience in being able to do what I love in creating content in a whole nother country.
Did you know all the students that you went with when you originally were there?
Yes, so they were all in my group in the broadcasting school, and then there was a few other students from Montclair, which I got really close with too, that had different majors, but majority of them were broadcasting students, which was really awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you have any professors that had a significant impact on you and your experience, or any like advisors, just anyone from the university?
So everyone here was absolutely amazing when I was here as a student at Montclair State. Everyone was really supportive and really honed in on like what your goal was and what you wanted to do, and really gave you the opportunity to flourish and really learn. Professor McCarthy was great. When I was here, he really kind of opened the doors and really gave us the opportunity to work on more projects that were outside of the classroom. That was really when I got the opportunity to learn how to produce and do interviews like we're doing right now, and really learn my editing skills. And I remember there was one time we had a Holocaust survivor come visit campus, and I was able to sit down, do an interview with him. And that was great. That was like the first time I was ever able to really do something like that was outside of campus-related activities or projects or schoolwork. So he was fantastic. He really opened up that door and really taught me a lot about producing and storytelling, like how to really put together a great video and tell a great story. My career services advisor, Elaine Russo, who has retired, she was fantastic. She really helped me get a lot of great internships when I was here with NBC and CBS Sports, and she was really in my corner, and I give a lot of credit to her, because the best experience that you get is off campus, right? And those two internships I was able to get because of Montclair and because of her, and she really pushed me to really get to where I was. And after my internship with CBS Sports, I really knew I wanted to be in sports, in the industry, and I really give a lot of credit to her and the career services staff here and Montclair State in general.
So she kind of helped like steer you into that direction and kind of
Right.
got you into the field that you're in.
Yeah, like she was very one-on-one, individualized, and I feel like that's everyone here at Montclair. When you tell them what you really want to do, they really want to help you get to that next step and what you can do outside the university here. And when I told her I really wanted to do production and get into sports, she worked hard to, find the opportunities. She was the first person to send them to me. I was the first to apply for them, and she was really helpful with, my interviews. And just everyone here on campus, they're great, and they really support your goals and where you want to go after college.
Yeah, well, you said a lot of the classes that you took weren't exactly like sports related. They're more so like journalism and type classes.
Yes, so I really learned the basics. I learned how to shoot, learned how to edit, audio engineering, how to be in a studio similar to this one, how to direct, how to be a TD, and those are really valuable skills because I was a production intern at NBC, CBS Sports, and Giants, and I was really able to use those skills in those internships. And I remember when I was a production intern at the Giants, we got quizzed on what certain cables were, what kind of camera lenses were what, and I remember I knew everything because I learned everything here at Montclair, and they were really impressed. They're like, "Oh, Emma, how do you know that?" And I was like, "Well, I learned that at school."
Yeah, you were ready for that.
Yeah, so I was really primed and ready for those technical aspects. And I remember there was one time at CBS Sports, I was in a control room setting, and my boss at the time, he pointed out at everyone in the truck, and he said, "Emma, what does this person do? What does that person do?" And I was with other interns, and I got all the questions right, and he was like, "Wow." And I said, that was really all due to Montclair. Like, really learned the nitty gritty of everything, and really understanding that production, content creation, live events, it's all a well-oiled machine, and you need a whole team of people in order for it to get up off the ground running.
Yeah, so they really helped like prepare you for, well, not just the internship, but I'm sure also what you do now, but as a social media manager.
Yeah, so it's crazy because back when I went to school here, I was a broadcasting major, and there was no such thing as social media. I downloaded Instagram for the first time my junior year here at Montclair. So I never thought, looking back, I would never thought that I would be in a role of social media now, because that didn't really exist back then. But really using my tools from production and video content creation and telling a story, and using all of those tools to be able to get to where I am now really helped. When I was a production intern at the Giants, I graduated, and then they offered me a freelance position, a production assistant job, and I would come in and I was video editing. That was not what I wanted to do out of college, I'll tell you that right now. I went to college, and I really wanted to be in production. At first I wanted to be on camera, and I thought that's what I wanted to do, and that was the end all be all. But after my internships, I really realized I love producing, and I love the back end of things and bringing ideas and stories to life. So when I got hired as a freelance production assistant, I was editing, and I was like, I don't want to do this. But I learned so much from that. I learned how to really tell a story from start to finish, and then they were putting me on field shoots, and I was going out in the field at community events, marketing initiatives, producing those video pieces of content, interviewing players, and then I kind of transitioned into going on camera, learning how to do stand-ups, interview people off the field. I was also doing event management. So it was a very hybrid role, but a lot of key tools I learned here at Montclair, right? How to work well with others, being quick on your feet, making good decisions, and also learning a lot of the technical aspects. And then coming from production, and then I was doing a lot of events, and then social media became so big back, I want to say in 2017, 2018 was kind of when I started transitioning into our social digital department. They really needed help on that end. They only had one person that was managing the accounts and didn't really have a strategy set in place. So I said, hey, we need some great video content on Instagram. What are we posting on Snapchat? And I had all these ideas based on my video production background, right? And what does well on certain platforms. So then I was able to kind of edge my way in there. And ever since now, it's become the department I'm leading now, and it's fantastic. But really all comes from, great storytelling and how to connect with fans. And really all started here, right? How to come up with great content, and that's kind of where it all started.
Yeah, and you kind of got to play the field and see what you really wanted to do with all that.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right. So you started off as a production intern for the Giants when you were here, and you're now the social media manager. So what was the difference between those two positions?
So different.
Yeah.
That's so different. I look back and I look at that girl, and I don't even recognize her anymore, because I have grown so much. And the beauty of it is, yes, I've been at the Giants ever since I graduated here in 2013, a very long time. This is my 11th season now, but I have grown in so many roles. So every role that I've held at the Giants never existed beforehand, which is great to say, coming out of college. And really, I always wanted to be in the NFL. I grew up as a Giants fan. My dad raised me as a Giants fan, so I was very passionate about the NFL. And I think my passion for the Giants and the role itself is really what's made me kind of grow up the ladders and really learn different skills and willing to do different things. And I say every day doesn't feel like a job for me. It just feels like I don't feel like I'm working. It's great. Every challenge that comes to me is an opportunity. That's really how I see it. But yeah, so coming from a production intern, doing really production niche, projects, and then going into social media now, it's all about strategy. So I'm under our marketing team now, and I have a great group and our social media team, and we really come up with creative concepts. We work with our marketing team that align with our campaigns, work with game day themes, and really try to bring everything together. I also work with our sponsorship team because most of our content is sponsored. So really more of a marketing business side strategy, right? Really what content works on what platform the best. And that's really what I'm doing now. And I oversee 7 platforms. So it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn. So every day looks different.
Everything,
yeah, everything looks different, and really learning what content works best on each platform, and really making sure how to grow the business and drive ticket sales. That's our number one goal. And how do we get in new fans, right? How do we do that lead gen where we bring in new people into the mix? We are a legacy team. So really like learning more of the business side, I would say, of the team is really what I've learned from being an intern, right? And really what makes, what the goal of the whole company is, and kind of from that lens per se.
Do you think that the skills that you learned from being a production intern help you with your position now as a social media manager? Like, do you think that you would be able to have become a social media manager without that original position and doing
100%,
production?
100%. And I think that in a sense, it's always learning something new. Like social media is always changing, and same thing with production. Like not every day is the same. And I would say that's the same thing with social media, and everything that we do or post on social media or ideas that we come up with come from a production standpoint, right? Like working with different editors, working with different producers, working with the players, working with different departments. That's everything I did as an intern, and now just leveraging it into this role is exactly what I've been able to do. And I think like if I didn't have that skill set, it definitely would have been different now. And I think it's something that I would never go back and change it, right? It was definitely a special experiencing, interning with the Giants that year.
It seems like you kind of have there's also like a creative aspect to it.
Yeah,
other than just
100%.
like the editing
You have to
skills.
be, yes.
Yeah.
So of course, you have to be creative and coming up with ideas. And that was the thing being an intern too. We were able to come up with different ideas and execute them and pitch them, to our director of production. And that's always the fun part of it, right? And that's really what catapulted into what I'm doing now, is because I was able to come up with different innovative ideas, like how can we drive these platforms? What content is working where? And especially now with TikTok, it's a whole
that's a whole new world.
I went to Montclair learning how to do long form content. Now all of a sudden, got to learn how to do short form content, and that's really what I learned at the Giants. And once TikTok became such a big thing, and now Instagram Reels and all these emerging platforms, and really just from the start, learning to be able to be fluid and not be afraid to learn different skills. And that's exactly how it was when I started out, as a PA at the Giants. I wasn't a big fan of video editing, but I'm like, I'm going to learn it. And now I edit TikTok videos, you know what I mean? And now when I see edits, I have an eye for it. So it's every skill back then really transitions into like now. So.
Yeah, and then like the audience, I feel like for all those platforms are very different.
So different.
So
they are so different.
Different kind of aim for each of them.
Exactly. So content that we're producing for, our YouTube long form storytelling documentary series that goes on our YouTube channel, but then we're also sitting there thinking, okay, how can we put that on TikTok, or how can we promote this on Instagram? So really looking at that piece of content and figuring out how do we pull pieces apart? How do we make it friendly to that TikTok audience that's like, hey, I want to watch this documentary on YouTube, because there's still young YouTube audiences there. So very strategic, but at the end of the day, it all comes from what's good storytelling. Even if it's a 15-second video, how am I going to get your attention?
Do you have any advice for any students that are sports comm majors now, or really just anything in that same field, broadcasting, communications?
What I tell everybody is like, don't be afraid to try different things and really figure out what you want to do. And the most important thing I would say is apply for internships. I got my first internship at NBC my sophomore year, then junior year was Giants, and then senior year was CBS Sports. Both internships I got, 3 internships while I was here, which is quite a bit. 2 of them I got through Montclair State here, which was great. Tried to get as many internships as possible. That's really where you're going to get your hands-on experience and kind of like an outside perspective of what's out there, and you'll really see everybody in their roles in real time. And that's really where you're going to be able to experiment and see what you like and what you don't like. Obviously networking, and I always say if you're a senior and you're looking for a job, that internship that you have, if you love that company that you're working for and you want to stay, you really want to go above and beyond. Like as an intern, you're going to have your daily tasks, but what can you do, especially in the sports field, creative field, what can you do outside of that that's going to make you stand out than everybody else? Is it taking on an extra project? Is it pitching another idea? Is it working with a different department? Is it volunteering to do other things? What are you doing that's separating you from the other interns from that class? But I tell students that really want to get involved in sports, go to the football team, go to the lacrosse team, go to the baseball team, see if they need help building up their platforms, their Twitter, their Facebook, their Instagram page, or their interviews that they want to shoot. Is there any way that you can get involved, like within their events or whatever it may be, to really add that on your resume? And that's really what's going to stand out, especially from a sports perspective. And even the Montclair State social media channels are absolutely amazing. I love the TikTok channel, so shout out to whoever runs that. There's just so many opportunities to get involved in content in general and even in sports. And I think just getting your foot in the door, that's really what you need to do.
Yeah, so the internship was, not only a chance for you to learn, but also to apply some of the knowledge that you've gotten from the courses that you took here and have more of a hands-on experience.
Exactly. And I would say hands-on experience is really where you're going to really open up your eyes, and everything that you learn here and in the classroom, it's almost like connecting the dots a little bit. Everything's just going to click. Oh, this is what makes sense. This is why I'm learning this. And really applying those tools. And like I said, really taking it to the next level. How can I stand out from the rest? And that's really what's going to land you your job out of school.
Awesome. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.